For nearly a century, the airplane had stood silent, buried deep in a forgotten stretch of wilderness. Its once proud wings were now rusted, its windows cracked, and its body swallowed by creeping vines. It had not flown in 99 years. The world had moved on, cities rose. Technology advanced, but here, time had chosen to rest. No one remembered its name. Until one day, someone came. His name was Armin, a quiet dreamer with a love for abandoned things. Where others saw decay, he saw stories. Where others saw an end, he saw a beginning. When he first stumbled upon the aircraft, he stood still for a long time, staring at its massive body. Half buried in earth, surrounded by wild trees and whispering wind. The plane looked like a fallen giant. Most people would have taken a picture and left. But Armin stayed. He walked closer, brushing away vines from the entrance door. It creaked open as if it had been waiting decades for someone to return. Inside, dust filled the air like ghosts of the past. Broken seats, shattered panels. And silence, so much silence, but in that silence, Armin heard something else: possibility. The idea came to him like lightning. What if this wasn't the end? He whispered. What if this became something beautiful? And so, the impossible project began. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Armin worked alone at first, clearing debris, cutting away rusted sections, and cleaning the interior. Every piece of the aircraft told a story: faded labels, old wires, forgotten designs. He didn't want to erase its history. He wanted to transform it slowly. People started noticing. Curious villagers, travelers, even builders came to see what this man was doing. In the middle of nowhere with a dead airplane. They laughed at first. Turn this into a house, someone said. Impossible, another replied. But Armin didn't argue. He just kept working. The transformation began from the inside. The broken seats were removed and replaced with smooth wooden flooring. Walls were reshaped, reinforced with steel and glass. Natural light began to pour in through newly designed panoramic windows, but the most breathtaking change came with the floor. Armin decided to install an epoxy resin floor, a bold, unusual choice for such a structure. He worked carefully, pouring layers of crystal clear resin mixed with pigments that reflected the colors of the sky: blue, gold, silver. As the resin settled and hardened, it created a surface that looked like liquid glass. When sunlight hit it, the entire interior shimmered like a dream. It was no longer just a floor. It was art. Outside, the wilderness remained untouched. Armin believed the beauty of the project was not to fight nature, but to live within it. He kept the trees, the uneven land, the sounds of birds and wind. He built a wooden deck extending from the plane's wing, turning it into a balcony overlooking the endless green horizon. At night, the place became magical. Soft lights glowed inside the aircraft, reflecting on the epoxy floor like stars trapped beneath glass. The sky above stretched endlessly, filled with real stars, mirroring the ones below. It was as if the plane had finally learned to fly again, not through the sky, but through imagination. Months later, the impossible became real. The abandoned airplane was no longer forgotten. It had been reborn as a luxurious villa, a perfect blend of history, creativity, and nature. People began to visit from far away. They came not just to see a house, but to feel something: peace, inspiration, wonder. One evening, a visitor asked Armin, "Why did you do all this? It must have been so difficult." Armin smiled, looking at the glowing structure in front of him. "Because everything deserves a second chance," he said softly. "Even something the world has forgotten. What once stood as a silent, abandoned aircraft in the wilderness had now become something extraordinary." Word spread quickly, first through whispers, then through photos, and finally across the internet. People couldn't believe it. A 99-year-old abandoned airplane turned into a luxury villa. It sounded like a fantasy, but it was real. Visitors began arriving in small groups at first. They walked carefully along the forest path, guided by curiosity and disbelief. As they reached the clearing, they stopped, just like Armin had done the first day, speechless. The aircraft stood there, glowing under the sunlight, its polished body reflecting the sky. The once rusted shell now shined with a modern finish, yet still held traces of its past life. It was not completely new, and that was what made it special.